Just, greetings, everyone. I neglected to update the title on here. Let me get that real quick. I can't see bubbles yet, so I don't even know who's here. Good now, Robin. Give me 1 second. I hit live on my eCam before I changed the profile, and so I don't have the title and stuff. So we'll get started in a moment. Thank you for your patience. I'll play some music. Just gonna put this up here real quick. Why is it? Okay. How about that? We'll just go with that. Save. It's so small. Hello, I will get there. Oh, here we go. How big is that? Does that work? We'll go with that for now. Cause yeah. All right. Who's here? Who's live with me? I see some folks on other platform. Good now, Hamila on YouTube. All right. Hi, y'all. Good now, Robin, Kim, Donna, Stephanie, Rhonda, Grace, Jamie. How are you all doing? I just still don't see bubbles for whatever reason. If you don't say anything, I don't know that you're here. Here we go. There we go. I had to widen the screen. Good now, Stephanie. Good now, Caitlin. Good to see you. Handpan. Hey. Side note, I found Destiny's Child cover of the handpan and I shared it in that group. Thank you, dear. That's crazy. With the handpan, huh? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good now, Anne. Welcome. Welcome to Saturday. How is it already Saturday? When did that happen? How's everyone feeling before we get started into this book and on this chapter about grief and letting go? Give everybody a few more minutes. You still, are you feeling better, Rhonda? I'm thinking not based on what you just typed. Premature, okay. Good now, Paul. Well, feel better. Robin says, grand coming from Anisha's live. Oh, wonderful. I missed her live. That's awesome. Yeah, getting myself together today. Well, good. Yeah, Anisha's good people. Her voice is y'all think my voice is calming. Her voice is like, put you to sleep calming. You're good, sipping coffee. Yeah, I heated my coffee up, but it's not hot enough. I like it to be so hot that I'm like, you're feeling alive. I'm good. I'm glad. Good now, Lynn. Robin, you got your coffee? Who else has popped in here? Chandan, good now, love. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Good now. Yep, I won't be drinking that till I can reheat it. If it's not hot, it's not good. It's okay. Even though I made it. I'll drink my water. Good morning, good now. for everyone here in those private mode. Good now, April. For those who are not aware, hold on. I'm on a different profile, so things are going to be different. Let me see. Yep. Hold on. I wanted to have the book up here, but this is not working with me today. I don't want all that extra stuff, and I don't remember how to move it. It's all good. Okay. Good now, Trish. You're an iced coffee person. I do not like iced coffee. We're not doing this. I don't know why. I will say though, I do like cold brew. So I just don't like ice in my coffee, but I will drink a cold brew. Delish. That'll have you flying. Good now, Belinda. It's so strong, but it's so good. All right. Let me say good now to some other folks. Laurel, good now. I love that name. Miss Stephanie Y. Who else has popped in with a puppy? Autumn, good now, love. All right. I think we have 2 Stephanies in here. Yes. Good now, Stephanie. Stephanie, you still teaching, right? We have a teacher, Stephanie, teacher, Caitlin. Any other teachers in the house that we can celebrate before we get this party started? Okay. All right, loves. We are reading the book Letting Go, Path to Surrender. Good now is new for me. I've never heard that before this morning. Aw, that is me. I don't know that anyone else says it. I started saying it, I think it was after reading the book, The Power of Now. I'm not positive, but it's based on that though. Like, now is the only time we have, so good now. And it has come in handy because we have an international audience. I've had cold brew on tap at a bar. It was so delicious, especially with the little Baileys. Ooh, I've not had cold brew with Baileys. You love it? I'm glad, Grace. Good. I like saying it. I like it, one, just because it feels good, but also it catches people off guard a little. And so it brings them really back into the present moment, in this now moment. So yeah, all of it. It's been fun. You have a bottle of Jameson cold brew, so yum. Haven't touched it in years, but so good. Wow. Okay, you know what we'll do in the live events. Jamie, love your fur babies, says Trish. All right, so this is the book we're reading. The Power of Now. I was just talking about The Power of Now. Letting Go, The Path to Surrender by Dr. David R. Hawkins. Disclaimer, I am not a licensed mental health professional. I do work with people with mental health challenges in a different way. It's complementary. It can be complementary to therapy, but I'm not licensed. And I say that because this book is going to hold a mirror up in front of you, and it may not always be what you want to hear, but it'll be what you need to hear in that moment. However, with that said, if anything becomes too much, you have 1 or 2 options that I can consider. You may come up with other things. You can just back out of the live, or you can put it in the chat and you'll have a whole group loving on you and supporting you. That's what I have witnessed and experienced in my lives, that people just pour in and just love on you. So if you're having a hard time with any of the things that we ever talk about in any of my lives, you're welcome to share in the chat, and we will love on you and take care of you as best as we can from the distance that we are. But it all works because we're all connected. So but yes, bottom line is, take good care of yourself and whatever you need. So today the chapter is on grief, and if you did not catch the previous chapters 1 through 4, you can catch it on my YT channel. The link is in my profile. I created playlist specifically for this, so you don't have to go searching all the way through my channel. I mean, you can, but I made it easy to find the other 4 chapters, and they'll be posted there live after every session. So with that said, without further ado, are y'all ready for the chapter on grief? Let me see who else has popped in. Bea, I wish you all peace and so much love. I love it. Received and reciprocated. Go good now, Joellen. And I think I've said good now to all the bubbles I can see. Anyone who is in incognito private mode, good now to you too. I'm glad you're here. And anyone on any other platform, good now to you as well. All right. Oh, cool. I will have to go. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Let me get the book. The libro. Robin says, good now, Bea. Let me know.
Chapter 5.
If you can hear it.
Grief. Grief is an experience common to us all. In grief, we feel that things are too difficult. We'll never make it. We are unloving and unlovable. We have thoughts such as, all the years I've wasted. It is a feeling of sadness and loss, loneliness, the feeling of, if only, regret, feelings of abandonment, pain, helplessness, and hopelessness, nostalgia, melancholy, depression, longing, irretrievable loss, heartbrokenness, anguish, disappointment, pessimism. Grief can be precipitated by the loss of a belief system, a relationship, a capacity or role, a hope about ourselves, or an overall attitude toward our life, external circumstances, or institutions. It's the feeling, I'll never get over this. This one is too difficult. I tried, but nothing helps. There is a feeling of vulnerability to pain and suffering, and so we see a great deal of it in the external world to reinforce and justify our own inner feeling. There is a crying for someone to help because we can't do anything about it, and we feel that maybe someone else can do it for us. This is in contradistinction to apathy, where there is a feeling that no one can help. Allowing the grief. Most of us carry a great deal of suppressed grief. Men especially are prone to hide that particular feeling, as it is considered unmanly and unmasculine to cry. Most people are afraid of the amount of grief they have suppressed. They are terrified that they will be swamped and overwhelmed by it. People will say, if I were ever to start crying, I would never stop. There is so much grief in the world, grief in my life, grief in my family and friends. Oh, the untold tragedies of life, all of the disappointments and smashed hopes. Suppressed grief is responsible for many psychosomatic conditions and health-related complaints. Instead of suppressing the feeling, if it is allowed to come up and be relinquished, we can quickly jump from grief to acceptance. The continuing grief over a loss is due to the resistance to accepting that state and allowing the grief to expend itself. The persistence of a feeling is due to the resistance to allowing it to be relinquished, e.g., cry me a river. Once we accept the fact that we can handle grief, we are already up into pride. The feeling of I can do it and I can handle it brings us to courage. With the courage to face our inner feelings and let them go, we thus move on to the levels of acceptance and eventually peace. When we let go of a lot of grief we have been holding over the years, our friends and family will notice a change in our facial expression. Our step will be lighter and we will look younger. Grief is time limited. This fact gives us the courage and willingness to face grief. If we don't resist the feeling of grief and totally surrender to it, it will run out in about 10 to 20 minutes. Then it will stop, for variable lengths of time. If we keep surrendering to it every time it comes up, then it will eventually run out. We just allow ourselves to experience it fully. We only have to tolerate an overwhelming grief for 10 to 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden it will disappear. If we resist the grief, then it will go on and on. Suppressed grief can go on for years. In facing grief, we often have to acknowledge and let go of our shame and embarrassment about having the feeling in the first place. For men, this is especially so. We have to relinquish our fear of the feeling and our fear of being swamped and overwhelmed by it. It helps to realize that letting go of the resistance to the feeling moves us quickly through it. Traditionally, women have said, out of their own experience and wisdom, a good cry makes me feel better. Many a man has been surprised when he learned the truth of this. Experientially, there was the surprising and almost immediate relief from a pounding headache as soon as the grief about a past situation was allowed to come up. As the grief surfaced, there was the sentence, "Men don't cry." After letting go of the masculine pride about crying, then up came a fear that the crying would never stop once it was allowed to start. As soon as that fear was gone, then there was anger. It was anger at a society that forces men to suppress their feelings, and anger at the notion that men are not even supposed to have feelings. With the letting go of that anger, the level of courage was reached, and then the needed crying could be allowed. Not only was there relief from the headache, but when the torrent of sobs subsided, a profound peacefulness settled. Henceforth, the subject did not have to be avoided. Once a man has fully let the grief come up and totally freed himself from that suppressed energy, he is peaceful, and his view of his own masculinity changes. He realizes that his masculinity is now more complete. He is still just as much of a man, but now he is a man who can also be in touch with and handle his own feelings. Consequently, he is more adequate, more capable, more well-rounded, more understanding, more mature, more capable of relating to and understanding others, more compassionate and more loving. The psychological basis of all grief and mourning is attachment. Attachment and dependence occur because we feel incomplete within ourselves. Therefore, we seek objects, people, relationships, places, and concepts to fulfill inner needs. Because they are unconsciously utilized to fulfill an inner need, they come to be identified as mine. As more energy is poured into them, there is a transition from identifying with the external objects as mine to being an actual extension of me. Loss of the object or person is experienced as a loss of our own self and an important part of our emotional economy. Loss is experienced as the diminution of the quality of ourselves, which the object or person represented. The more emotional energy invested in the object or person, the greater will be the feeling of loss and the greater the pain associated with the undoing of the bonds of dependence. Attachment creates a dependency, and dependency, because of its nature, intrinsically carries with it a fear of loss. Within each person, there is the child, parent, and adult. When grief comes up, it is rewarding to ask, within myself, is it the child, parent, or adult that is the source of this feeling? For example, the child within a person is scared that something will happen to a beloved dog. It wonders, how will I make it? The inner adult also feels grief, but the adult accepts the inevitable. The little kitty or doggy is not immortal. The adult in us regretfully accepts that impermanency is a reality of life. We accept that our youth is not permanent, that many romantic relationships are not lifelong, and that our dog will one day die. Handling loss. Because of the nature of attachment, the first state preceding the actual experiencing of loss is that of fear of loss. This is usually defended in one of two ways. One is to increase the intensity of the attachment by ever persistent attempts to strengthen the bonds. This approach is based on the fantasy that the greater the bond, the less likelihood of loss. However, this is the very maneuver that often precipitates loss in personal relationships, because the other person struggles to be free of the possessive attachment and the amount of restrictive control they feel being placed upon them. Thus, because what we hold in mind tends to manifest, the fear of a loss can, paradoxically, be the mechanism of bringing about that loss. The second way that fear of loss is handled is by the psychological mechanism of denial, which is, in common language, called playing ostrich. We see this around us every day in its various forms of refusing to face the inevitable. All the warning signs are there, but the person does not take heed. Thus, the man who is obviously in the process of losing his job tends not to notice. The partners in a marriage that is going down the drain take no corrective action. The person with a serious disease ignores all of the symptoms and avoids medical attention. The politicians fail to look at social problems, hoping they will go away. Whole countries are oblivious to the precarious state of existence, e.g., 9/11 attack. The motorist ignores the ominous warning signals of a misbehaving engine. We have all experienced regret that we didn't pay attention to the warning signals of trouble ahead. To handle the fear of loss, we have to look at what purpose the external person or object serves in our life. What emotional need is being fulfilled? What emotions would arise were we to lose the object or the person? Loss can be anticipated, and we can handle the various fears associated with the sense of loss by disassembling the emotional complexes that they represent and letting go of the individual component feelings. Let's say, for example, that you have a pet dog to which you have been attached for many years. It is obvious that old Rover is getting older. You find that you don't like to think about his advanced age, feeling uncomfortable at the prospect of his death and putting it out of mind. As you catch yourself doing this, you realize that these feelings are warning signals and that you are not handling the emotional situation. And so you ask yourself, what purpose is the dog serving in my life? What is his emotional service to me? Love, companionship, devotion, amusement, and diversion. Will losing the dog leave these personal emotional needs unfulfilled? In looking at this, some of the fear can be acknowledged and relinquished. Once the fear is let go, you don't have to resort to denial and pretend to yourself that Rover will live forever. Another emotion associated with grief and mourning is that of anger. The loss of that which is important frequently brings up a feeling of rage, which may be projected onto the world, society, individuals, and ultimately God, who is held to be responsible for the nature of the universe. Anger results from prior refusal to accept the fact that all relationships and possessions in this life are transitory. Even the physical body, which is our biggest attachment, eventually has to be relinquished, as everyone is aware. We feel that what has become important or comforting to us is a permanent attachment. Consequently, when that illusion is threatened, there is anger, resentment, and self-pity, feelings which can result in chronic bitterness. Impotent rage is associated with the desire to change the nature of the world and the impossibility of doing so. In facing this fact of existence, a major loss can therefore bring about a shift in our philosophical position. One major loss can awaken us to the nature of all attachments and all relationships. Or we may again deny the obvious fact that all relationships are transitory and furiously re-intensify existing bonds to compensate for the loss. A part of handling denial of the inevitability of loss is seeing through attempts at manipulation. In fantasy, the mind tries to develop tactics so as to avoid the loss. This may take the form of becoming gooder, or more hardworking, more honest, more persevering, or more loyal. In religious persons, this may take the form of trying to manipulate God by promises and bargains. In relationships, it may take the form of overcompensatory behavior. The spouse becomes ever more dutiful, loving, and attentive in an attempt to prevent a breakup. The inattentive husband suddenly starts bringing home gifts and flowers instead of getting to the root cause of the problem. When the denial breaks down, the manipulations have not worked, and the fear has been passed through, then the depression itself, the actual process of mourning and grief, takes place. All of these emotional stages can be worked through much more rapidly by the process of letting go, in which the inevitability of the emotion of grief is surrendered to and replaced by a willingness to let go of resistance and let the process pass through and complete itself. There can be a decision to let go of resisting the grief. Instead of denial and resistance, you plunge into it and get over it. You have a good cry over old Rover or the lost relationship. Associated with the feeling of grief is always a variable amount of guilt. This is based on the fantasy that the loss represents a punishment or that a different attitude or behavior would have prevented it from happening. Unless it is relinquished, the guilt can then recycle and refuel the anger and rage. The unacknowledged and unrelinquished rage may be projected onto others in the environment in the form of blame. Blame, projected onto other relationships, may then compound the loss by bringing about further loss. This happens frequently between marital partners as a result of the death of a child. It has been reported that the divorce rate among parents who have lost children is as high as 90%. Because of the projection of blame, a severe loss is then compounded by another severe loss, that of a marital partner. An example of this type of reaction is the case of a 40-year-old woman. She had an excellent marriage for 20 years with an attentive, dutiful husband. Her youngest son developed leukemia. When he died, she went into grief and mourning, and more importantly, developed a rage reaction. It took the form of hatred. She hated the doctors, she hated the hospital, she hated God, she hated her husband and the existing children. Her rage became so uncontrollable that she became physically violent and threatening. Several times, the police had to be called to control her violent behavior. Finally, the other children left home out of fear of the chaos, physical abuse, and menacing emotional states. Her husband left no stone unturned in trying to help her with the rage, but she vented her fury upon him as well, violently attacking him on several occasions. Finally, in desperation and despair, he was driven from the home. The chaotic situation ultimately ended in a divorce in which the woman lost her home. It was almost 5 years before the rage subsided, at which time the woman had destroyed her whole life and now had to start over from scratch, rebuilding a new life. When all the negative emotions have been worked through, surrendered to, and let go of, relief finally occurs, and the former suffering is replaced by acceptance. Acceptance is different from resignation. In resignation, there are still residuals of the previous emotion left. There is reluctance and a delaying of the true recognition of the facts. Resignation says, I don't like it, but I have to put up with it. With acceptance, resistance to the true nature of the facts has been relinquished. Thus, One of the signs of acceptance is serenity. With acceptance, the struggle is over and life begins anew. The energies that were bound up in the previous negative emotion are now freed up, so that the healthier aspects of the personality are now re-energized. The creative aspects of the mind develop opportunities for new life situations and further options for growth and experience, accompanied by a new sense of aliveness. A well-known and widely practiced teaching is the Serenity Prayer of the 12-step groups. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Failure to work through any of the various emotions associated with mourning and loss can result in chronic stuckness in any of its components. Thus, it can result in prolonged depression and prolonged states of denial in which the death of the person is actually denied. Chronic guilt or refusal to work through the emotions associated with loss can result in delayed grief reaction and physical disease. The mechanisms behind this process are explained in a later chapter on the relationship between mind and body. The suppressed energy of the unrelinquished emotions reemerges through the body's endocrine and nervous system as an energetic imbalance, which impairs the flow of life energy through the body's acupuncture meridians. This results in pathologic changes in various organs. It is a well-known fact that the death rate among the bereaved is much higher than that of the general population, especially in the first year or two following the death of a spouse. One source of grief-related guilt is anger at the loved one for departing. This is often suppressed because it seems irrational to the conscious mind. The virtues of the departed loved one are enhanced and exaggerated in fantasy, and this discrepancy compounds the guilt. How could we be angry at such a wonderful person? There is guilt about being angry at God, the author of the universe, for having allowed the tragic event to take place. A 60-year-old woman came into the office with multiple physical complaints. She had asthma attacks, allergies, bronchitis, frequent episodes of pneumonia, and all kinds of breathing difficulties. During psychotherapy, it was revealed that her mother had died 22 years previously, and she stated that, curiously, she had had no reaction to her mother's death. Oddly, although it was her responsibility, she had not ordered a headstone to be placed on her mother's grave. From information given, it was obvious that she had had an extremely dependent relationship with her mother, about whom she was ambivalent because of the mother's refusal to fill all of her dependency needs. It took many months for her to work through her massive denial, which was associated with guilt over her anger at her mother for leaving her. That anger was directed inwardly at herself in the form of disease, which also expressed her helplessness and her wish to cry out for her mother. The suppressed desire to cry for the mother loss led to a constant feeling that she could not breathe. She hated herself for the love-hate feelings for her mother, and the sum total of all her repressed emotions had re-emerged in the form of her multiple respiratory symptoms and complaints, psychosomatic illness. As she worked through the delayed mourning, the reaction to grief and loss began to surface. The extent of her resistance to working through these emotions and how that resistance had resulted in her physical symptoms became very clear to her. Eventually, she went for additional professional training to become a therapist, working with the dying in a hospice program. Preventing grief. From the nature of the processes we have described, it becomes apparent that severe mourning, loss, and the pathological reactions that may ensue can be prevented by early recognition and by preemptive surrender of the associated feelings while they are still mild and can be handled without excessive suffering. As we have seen, the basis of all mourning and loss is attachment. plus the denial of the transitory nature of all relationships. We can begin by looking at our lives, identifying those areas of attachment and asking ourselves, what internal needs are they satisfying? What feeling would come up if I were to lose them? How can my inner emotional life be balanced so as to decrease the extent, degree, and number of attachments on external objects and people? The greater our attachment to that which is outside of ourselves, the greater is our overall level of fear and vulnerability to loss. We can ask ourselves why we feel so incomplete. Why am I so empty within myself that I have to search for solutions in the form of attachment and dependency on others? We can begin to look at our own inner areas of immaturity. Specifically, we need to examine, where am I looking to get love rather than to give it? The more loving we are, the less vulnerable we are to grief and loss, and the less we need to seek attachments. When we have acknowledged and let go of all negative feelings, and we have graduated from smallness to the recognition of our greatness, so that our internal joy comes from the pleasure of giving and loving, then we are really invulnerable to loss. When the source of happiness is found within, we are immune to the losses of the world. When we take a critical look at our life, we see all of the attachments and escapes into which we have fallen. Each one represents a potential future source of pain and suffering. The really important areas should be closely examined. Let's take, for example, the failure to face these issues in the commonly seen so-called retirement syndrome. Traditionally, this may occur in women when the job of raising young children comes to an end with their maturity and leaving home, empty nest syndrome. And with a man when he reaches retirement age or loses his job, or through some physical disablement is unable to carry on his previous work. The reaction that typically occurs in middle age is due to the many years of pre-existing denial. There is often a lack of facing the inevitable and making plans for other life activities that would gratify the same inner needs, which, in these cases, are feelings of self-esteem, importance, the wanting to feel needed and significant, and the need to make a contribution and be productive. Anticipation of the inevitable and preparing for it now bring relatively minor discomfort compared to traumatic grief and loss at a later date. We can look at our major love relationships and honestly examine them. To what degree do they subserve our selfish inner needs? To what degree are we really using the other person to exploit them for our own gain? To what degree are they merely subserving our happiness? To find out, all we need to do is ask ourselves, if their happiness were best served by leaving me, how would I feel about it? This reveals the degree to which we are trying to restrict and control the other person, which is attachment and not love. Over 2,000 years ago, the Buddha made the observation that the basis of all human suffering was due to desire and attachment, and human history has merely proven the truth of his teaching. What is the solution to that dilemma? As we can see, it is only the small aspect of oneself that becomes attached. The smaller self buys into the frightened, inadequate set of programs that we have unwittingly allowed to run us. The purpose of letting go is to de-energize these programs so that they no longer run us. Then we are free to expand into the greater awareness of our higher self. That part of us to which we refer as our greater self loves rather than seeks love. Consequently, there comes the awareness that we are at all times surrounded by love, which is unlimited. Love is automatically attracted to the person who is loving. By constantly letting go of our negative feelings, we thus cure present pain and prophylactically prevent the occurrence of future pain. Fear is replaced by trust, and with it comes a profound sense of well-being. Immunity to grief of loss occurs when we replace dependence on the small self, the personality, with dependence on the self, the divinity within. We look for security to the self, which is eternal, instead of to the small self, which is transitory.
That's chapter 5. Just let you marinate on that a little bit. Feel free to share what comes to mind. It's not an easy chapter. Justin says, reminds me of my mom when there is a loss in the family. A funeral should be a celebration of life. I still struggle with that mindset to some degree. Well, I hope this chapter was helpful in helping you understand why you struggle with that, Justin. It's probably the child in you. That part in the chapter where it says, is this the child, the parent, or the adult? And the child is not able to rationalize or understand, like, everything's transitory. The only thing permanent is death and taxes. Doesn't always make it easier, but according to this, if we can recognize it ahead of time, before it happens, we can start relinquishing those feelings. Good. What came up for anyone else? I'll tell you what came up for me. Donna says, the part about attachment to others helped me. Good. How did that help you? If you care to share, how did that help you? As whoever's been hanging out with me over the past week, I've been watching my mom's pup, and definitely made me miss my pup. So I was like, oh, I guess I'm not finished grieving the loss of her. So as we were going through this chapter, I'm like, what was it that isn't fully complete within me that allows that grief to still take place? So I got some journaling to do. Caitlin says, and everyone has their own timeline. If you aren't ready to be celebratory at the funeral of family dinner or whatever comes that is with it is fine. Yes, take your own time, Justin, but I hear you and I am proud of you for acknowledging. Yes, that's a good point, Caitlin. You do have our own timeline, especially if you don't have the tools ahead of time, Donna says, defined by others and needing from others to find self. Yep, I love it. I'm celebrating you for that awareness. Lynn says, I know so many people who let their pets linger too long when they could be humanely euthanizing. I think it's selfish, but that's just me. I get that. Mine left on her own while I was away for work, which was really hard. Good now, Amanda, on YT. Chandan says, it reminds me that grief has so many ways to let go. So many ways to let it go, yeah. Robin says, overly attached, agony, detachment, serenity. Yep. I grieve loss of my dog by Buddy True, a companion. Yeah. Lynn said yes, Robin. Joella says, learning how to grieve was hard for me. I come from a family of dysfunctional grievers. Most of us do. Most people don't know how to grieve. That's helpful. And then the other book that we read, The Wild Edge of Sorrow, was very helpful. It made death less scary for me. Helen says, I try to remember that grief is on the timetable of the heart and not the brains. Yes. I love that. Jamie says, one thing about grief that interests me is the repression of memories. That was a tough one for me after my dad passed. Some memories came back, but I know there's some that haven't. I think when memories get suppressed, it's because there's a pain that your body's not ready to experience and transmute or transcend. Like for me, just not even a grieving sense, just for me, when there's something that is too much for my nervous system to handle, I don't remember it. Like both of my motorcycle accidents 20 years ago and last year, I remember right before and right after. I don't remember the impact or anything. So I think that's just a protection mechanism that your body can do sometimes. Sometimes bringing a memory up will make things even more challenging. Not necessarily with the loss of someone, but I know for me with that accident, if I remembered everything in between, I probably would not have gotten back on my bike after the first accident. But yes, Helen, the heart. Caitlin says, Mom's family taught me the good way, and Dad's family is way repressed. Hamila says, it's annoyed when people say you can't disparage the dead. If they were a terrible person, that doesn't switch to angel status because they died. Can you share more about that, Hamila? What do you mean? Amanda says, hi, grief is interesting. The way different stages can reoccur anytime. Yeah. According to this chapter, it seems like you can completely prevent and I can't say that I have this down packed by any means, but completely prevent grief, or when it happens, it doesn't have to linger on and on. According to this, I don't know about that for sure yet, because I have not gotten to a place where I've practiced that. Justin said, my dog had cancer and I found out when Mom and Dad called me randomly at work. I burst into tears. They brought him to be euthanized. I drove straight from work to somewhere in BWI. He couldn't even see me and I couldn't watch them put him down. But Mom and Dad are stronger than me and they stayed with him till the end. I ran. Sounds like it broke your heart. Yeah, I hope you aren't blaming yourself for any of that or feeling guilty. If you are, I want to encourage you to work through that. A says, have a lot of pain in my body, probably related to lost my daughter 21 years ago. A, I'm so sorry to hear that, and it's very possible. Were you here for the whole chapter? Where he talked a little bit about that? And if that is the case, if you think that's the case, I would definitely encourage you to work with someone to work through that. I'm sorry to hear that, love. I can't even imagine you losing a child. Hamila says, some people try to say you can't speak ill of people who pass, but them passing doesn't erase how they may have treated people when they were alive. Yeah, and he mentioned that too, how when you're grieving, right? When you're grieving someone, you elevate like the memory of them sometimes. Yeah, that's true, Jamila. Trish says, grief wears many hats. It can, yeah. Millie says, oh, Justin, I'm so sorry with that puppy. Robin says, Justin, you are strong and did what you needed to. Yes. I'm not blaming myself, but I was at a loss for words because it happened suddenly. Yeah. Donna sending love to you, A. Yeah. I can't even imagine. I'm glad you're here. I hope this chapter has helped, and I hope you can get work with someone who can help you release whatever is repressed so that you cannot be in pain. And also getting to a place of acceptance, for lack of a better word, or recognizing or acknowledging what happened and forgiving yourself. It doesn't mean that you don't miss them. It doesn't mean that you're going to forget about them. It just allows you to really celebrate who they were for you without the pain that comes along with the memories. Robin said, Justin, you took care of yourself. Soliman, I know you told me how to say your name. You're going to have to do it again. Please forgive me. All of my attachment experiences have been hard. And yesterday I went to Mom and asked about my weaning month and how it was. And she says that I was very sad, and they kept buying stuff for me so I can fill the gap. That made sense. That does make sense. That's interesting that you thought to ask that. That's good. That's good stuff. That makes that, yeah. That also kind of speaks to, you know, how when you say nurture versus nature, that seemed to have been your nature from the beginning, but also that could have been inherited. This stuff is always so fascinating to me. Just how different people respond to different situations, and I'm like, how much of that is inherited expression and all of that. That's why I got into this work. Reduce suffering as much as possible. Justin says, I'm in a better place now, but even writing that still makes me feel something. I do think I can get a dog again because I love dogs. Yeah. Rhonda's sending hugs. Yeah, so Justin, just when you write that, acknowledge what comes up and sit with it and let it pass through. If it's tears, if it's anger, and I love how he pointed out that the guilt that comes from the anger of the situation, that is so real as well. Thank you all for sharing. Any other revelations? I can always take this time to journal some things out. So in understanding the weaning part for you, what have you done since you've learned that? Of course, you did say that was just yesterday, right? So what would you feel like you could do differently or want to do differently so that attachment is not such a big thing for you or so hard for you? I'm just curious. I'm just trying to see what else. And the first 3 chapters of the book kind of gives you an idea of when he's saying letting go, it's not like turning your back on something or repressing further. It's literally allowing the emotions to come up and process. If anyone has ever, I use this as an example just because I've experienced it, but if you've ever cried like super hard and just let the cry just come until it stops, and all of a sudden it just stops. It's nothing you did. It's just the energy ran out. And so that's pretty much what he's talking about. It's like whatever emotions do come up from a situation, letting them come and go, they will eventually stop, and there is a sense of peace that is indescribable on the other side of that. Good now, April. So my biggest thing is, don't be afraid of what will come up. Don't be afraid of it. Won't, as long as you allow it to come up, it's not going to linger. The lingering is from not letting it come up. Justin says to Trish, What you said, tomorrow is not promised, hit me hard, especially this week. Anything random can happen. Oh, did I miss that, Trish? My bad. Oh, Trish, I'm so sorry. I missed that. Trish lost her husband almost 5 years ago and learned to live in the now and don't sweat the small stuff. Tomorrow is not promised. Yes. Yep. Good now, Daphne. Yeah, that's someone recently asked me for like what to think about going into the next year of their life, because they just had a birthday, and one of the things I mentioned is end every conversation with love, just because you never know, that could be the last conversation you have with someone. And yes, being in the now moment. Pamela says, I've experienced that peace, but then has sometimes been guilt that is attached to not feeling it. Yes, right. I believe that guilt is self-punishment. So if you're feeling guilt, it's like, what am I punishing myself for? And working through that, like looking at it objectively as possible. And if you have a hard time looking at yourself and your feelings objectively, involve a friend, involve us, so that we can get to the bottom of it and release that. Because more often than not, there's no reason to feel guilty that you can't work through. Lynn says, I told my husband yesterday we should be grateful for the small annoyances in our life because they could be major. Yeah, I got to that point too. Sometimes I do that with because where my house is, there at like 10 o'clock at night, sometimes you can hear people racing down. I don't even know which road it is. There's a couple major roads, and I can hear it if I'm not asleep. And I was getting annoyed. I know this is not about grief, but I was getting annoyed, and then I just reminded myself, I could just not hear it at all. I could be deaf, and I love music. I love to hear things. So I'm like, you know what? I am grateful that I can hear it. The small annoyances. So yes, Len, for sure. Soul says, I think it's really hard for me because there is a pattern coming back all the time. I let go of happiness and embrace grief for a moment and acknowledge myself that it will go away soon. Accepting myself is what keeps going. Loving myself when I'm on the bottom. I love that. Yes, love always. Good now, John from Michigan. Camila on YT says, my siblings and I do that. We end every conversation with I love you. We genuinely love each other, but never want to think we didn't say it the last time we spoke. I love that, Camila. Yes, yes, yes. Trish says, and be sure to give yourself grace. Grief is a very difficult time, and everyone grieves differently. There is no right or wrong way. Yep, I agree. Reframe it, yes, says Lynn. Yeah, there's no right or wrong. Well, I would say the only wrong way to grieve is to suppress it. Although, I can't even say that that's wrong, because sometimes the nervous system is not ready to deal with it, the pain. So if you have to suppress something, it should be done consciously, or consciously is best. I don't like to say should. Consciously is the best way. Just recognize that this pain, not ready, and you're putting it down, putting a pin in it until you're ready to process it. April says, yeah, same thing here, Nicole. They do that stupid street racing late at night here where I live too. Yeah, I get it because I love racing. However, I'm like, do y'all have to do it here though? Go to a track. There's tracks around here. Justin, you can suppress it, but it will eventually come up. It doesn't go away. Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why it's like, do it consciously, because then you know that at some point it will either come back up, or you will intentionally go back to it to process it when your system is stronger. You gotta pay to play at the track. Maybe. This is true. I feel like there's just other places. There's like a stoplight there too. On these are major roads, and there's a stoplight there. So that's why I'm like, how are y'all even racing? Are you just waiting for the light to turn green? Sometimes I just want to go out there and be like, what exactly are y'all doing? Which road? I mean, there is a long strip where they're before you get to the stoplights, but whatever. I digress. We're not talking about that. Tracks, exactly. They are too lazy to be bothered with legal means. It's dangerous, in my opinion. Boys and some girls. People end up dead and hurt here from the street racing. I have not heard any sirens or anything on this side yet, but yes, it can be. I really appreciated the snow and ice because it was quiet for a long time. There was a spot in my hometown that they did it since the 60s, like toxic waste. If it doesn't come up and out, it will come out sideways. Yes, Pamela. Yep. It will create it really, because it's energy, right? And energy is finite. I mean, and it is finite to a degree, right? Like your organs, you can preserve your body by processing, let's put it that way, because organs having to hold on to that grief, that energy, and it's not really designed to hold on to it. That's what wears on the body. Your organs, your respiratory system, and all of that. It wears on the body because it's not designed to hold on to that. It's designed to process it and shake it off like the dogs do. Not saying it's easy. It's just something to keep in mind when you get to that place. Any of those places where you're grieving, you're having a low moment. As was said, if you are having those moments, grace is it's just a big old hug from your higher self. Grace, compassion. Jamie says, I try to use small annoyances as an opportunity to practice patience and acceptance. Me too. I like to see how quickly I can get myself back into a state of peace. It takes practice. It does. And it's funny how, you know how they say, if you think you're spiritual, go around family. For me, it's like, for the most part, I'm at peace with a lot of things. And then when that started happening with the racing, I was like, oh, more work. Need more work. So yes, Jamie, I started doing the same thing. It's become a game for me for the most part. Justin says, I saw it wear down my grandmother after grandpa died. Emotions are powerful. They are. Trish says, Jamie, love that. They are powerful in either direction. The down emotions and the up emotions, they're powerful in either direction. So it's like, where do I want my energy to be? What power do I want to exude or exalt or lean into? John says, I always tell people not to worry about saying the wrong thing to grieving people. Whatever you say is okay. Your presence and caring is what matters. I love that, John. Thank you. Robin says 100% Jamie. Justin says 100% agreed. Dear Grace. Grace says, I was married for 26 years. I was happy. Our home was peaceful and our son happy. My husband left. We sold our home and we all went our separate ways. The heartbreak, disappointment, guilt, all the things sat with me for years. This reading helped me to realize so much and the work I need to continue to for myself. Before the reading began and hearing the good now exchanges were gold to me. Then your explanation and then the reading. This is so powerfully inspiring and interesting to me. I am Grace. Why aren't you here so I can hug you? I'm so glad. This is like my whole purpose on this earth is that liberation, that inner mastery to create that inner freedom. Viktor Frankl is a real inspiration to me. Thank you, Trish, for loving on Grace. I'm like, I don't know how anyone in a concentration camp can choose to create inner peace despite the circumstances. So I refer to him a lot in my mind when I'm struggling with something. And I'm like, if he could be in a concentration camp and find it, I can find it right now. Thank you, Robin, for loving on Grace. Thank you, Helen and Soul, for loving on Grace. And agreed. It would be so cool if we could do this in person so we could all hug. If you can't tell, I am a hugger. Thank you all. You're so welcome, love. Of course, I will only hug you if you're open to it. I will not force a hug on you. But if you're open to it, be ready to be squeezed. May 30th. Yes, yes, yes. For some reason, I can't see comments. Well, I'm reading them all, so... but you can also come out and come back in. Sometimes that helps. Or if you touch the screen by accident, sometimes they disappear like that too. Trish says, yes, I'm a hugger too. Ooh. If anybody is in the DC area May 30th or wants to come into the DC area and hug, I'm not doing a hug fest, but it will become part of a hug fest. Group hug, yes, Robin. You're welcome, Grace. Helen says, yes, all around for anyone who needs or wants them today. Yes, yes. Helen says, hugs, hugs, hugs. John says, I took my kids to the funeral home at a young age and let them decide whether or not to go or to view the body. I talked to them about it. They were able to face death and grief well as adults. I love that, John. Thank you for doing that. Because then you could teach other people. Helen says, yes, Robin. Hugs help a ton. They do. I would if I was up there, Nicole. Come on up. Trish says, during COVID, I couldn't hug anybody. It was the hardest thing. Oh, yeah. I had the puppy at the time, so that was helpful. She embraced hugs from me. Need at least 8 hugs a day, apparently. Yeah, that's what souls send the hugs too. Apparently. But yeah, May 30th, if anyone's in the area or passing through or knows someone who lives here and just needs to come say hi to them, bring them with you. If anyone has ever done my monthly move and sit that we do here on IT, we do 10-15, the time keeps going up, 10 to 15 minutes of ecstatic dance, and then we meditate. So the live version, and so the purpose of the dance is to release what we don't want to carry from the previous month. The live version is for the previous 6 months. And in between the dance and the meditation, I will be doing sound bowls, and so you can do a guided journaling session. So that's what May 30th is about. And then, of course, we get to hug. John says, I first faced grief when both grandpas died at the same week when I was 10. Oh my goodness, John. You'll be there, Justin. Awesome. John, sending you so much love. 10 years old. It sounds like, too, you had a very supportive parents or someone in your life that helped you navigate that time pretty well. Catherine says, sadly, I missed so much of this session today. Is there a recording in your profile you suggest listening to that touches on the theme today? Yes, my love. If you go to my profile, to my YT channel, once we end this session, this will be there. And first 3 chapters as well. Miss just woke up. Good for you, KD. I'm glad you got some rest. But yes, it will be on my YT channel. And you can see the YT link in my profile. Gotta go. Bye all. Take very good care of yourselves. You too, Helen. Big hugs and love. You're welcome, Catherine. Joellen says, all the sharing folks here, I know. Feels like I got 8 hugs today already. I love it. Yeah, if you come into my live, you're gonna feel hugged and loved for sure. John says, I've lost 2 wives and my 29-year-old son. I have been through much grief, but realize life goes on. You have been through a lot. My goodness, John. Thank you for being here and for being an inspiration and example of how to navigate those transitory things in our lives, relationships, loved ones. Wow. Life goes on, says Soul. Grace is sending you, Trish and Grace is sending you big love. April, thank you all for loving on John. Robin says, Nicole's lives are always love and supportive. Thank you. I try. And it's not even all, y'all just hop in. That's why I said at the beginning, I was like, this is going to put a mirror in front of you. And if it gets to be too much, you can leave or you can put it in the chat and you'll be super loved on and supported. Trish says, life goes on. I will say for me, the sun will rise again tomorrow. What had been challenging for me is that very fact that life goes on. It's like because you've heard of survivor's guilt from usually war veterans, but it's like life goes on. That like at one point that made me sad because it's like it feels like I'm like forgetting them. Or when in my early years when I was depressed all the time and did not want to be here, I was like, it wouldn't matter if I wasn't here, life is going to go on anyway. So that part, it took a different meaning for me. I had to definitely work through that, and see it from the glass half full instead of glass half empty. And so it's like you the person that has left, for you, living your life is what they would want. I put things into perspective to live life to the best of your ability. Yeah, absolutely. That is where the guilt after the grief comes from. Yeah, a lot of it. That and probably the last conversations you had with them. Like I could have been more loving the last time I spoke with them. But yeah, that's part of the grief too. Thanks for the love. I love you all and appreciate the thoughts and support. We love you too, John. Trish says, Justin, yes. Thank you for sharing that, says Catherine. Absolutely. Robin says, true and kind friends nurture and save lives. Persevere, peaceful people. Thank you, Robin, my alliteration angel. Yes, yes, yes. Hamila on YT says, life goes on, but it seems a bit unfair when your big sis isn't there. Yeah, that was my hold up when she left. Like, what am I supposed to do now? Yeah, right, Hamila, that part. That is a hard thing to work through. And I'm sorry to hear that, love. Yeah, I just want to hug y'all. I love humans. Oh, me too, soul. Oh, Grace. Grace is sending you love, Hamila. And I'm so sorry. You just never know what people have gone through. Trisha sending hugs and love. And sparkles. Yeah, you just never know. Like, it doesn't... I think I started to write something the other day. Like, that's an internal wound that's invisible, that people walk around with. You just don't know where someone is at any given moment. So I smile at people. They look at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, you're welcome. You're welcome. Some people appreciate it. Some people like don't know how to respond to it. In this area, it's like not a big thing. You're welcome, Jamila. Yeah, in this area, people like intentionally avoid eye contact a lot. So I usually say good now and I speak up, try to speak loud. I don't have my voice already doesn't carry, so it takes a lot of effort for me to speak up for you to hear me. But if someone looks particularly distressed, for lack of a better word, I try to make myself more audible and smile, or at least find a way to get their eye contact and smile. I smile at everyone too and say hi. I love that, Trish. Just never know what kind of day they're experiencing, what kind of moment, what just happened. One of the was that this book? No, it was the 7 Habits. The story that he shared in the 7 Habits where they were on a train and this gentleman got on the train. Does anybody know this story? This gentleman got on the train with 2 kids, and the kids were just like rambunctious all over the train, and he was getting annoyed. Not John. Who wrote Stephen Covey? He felt himself getting annoyed, and then he just mentioned, he's like, sir, your kids are all over the place. You mind like asking them to calm down? And the guy was like, I'm sorry, we just came from the hospital. We just lost their mom. And he was like, oh, you just never know, like, what someone just experienced or what they're going through. That says more about today's society, though, but that's a whole other conversation. Yeah. Katie says, feeling disappointed, missing the live. Oh boy, trying not to be disappointed or something. Yeah, don't be. It's there. You know, you can reach me at any time. You can reach the whole family at any time after you watch the replay. No, man, you got sleep. You already know how I feel about that. You needed that rest. If you would have gotten here and been tired, you would not have gotten so much from the live anyway. So watch it after you're well rested and soak it all up. And you know how to reach us. We got the group here on IT. You're like, y'all, I just watched it, and on the channel, you can post in the comments there. You better stop blaming, getting guilt, and let it go in a loving way. But seriously, just know it's okay. Hey, Trish says, yep, you never know. Jamie says, my voice carries easily. Speaking quietly is tough for me. That is my sister. My sister and my mom. I used to tell them, like, they'll be like right here talking, and I'm like, I'm right here. You can tone it down a little bit. Anywhere I go, I can hear my sister and mom talking, laughing. It's so funny. I love it. Katie, I'll be watching the replay too, says Catherine. Yeah, posting, and you can post on YT. I get notifications when someone makes a comment on a video, so I will respond right there. Trish says, Jamie, me too. Yeah. I need a bullhorn. Is that what the Robin? Yeah, I think I should just walk around with my my voice amplifier on. Hi, good now. I might do that one day. Megaphone, that's the word. Megaphone. Thank you. Just walk around with y'all see me with my voice amplifier on when we do the move and sit. But yeah, Katie, give yourself some grace. Megan says, I'm processing so much grief right now. I will definitely watch the replay. I am bummed I missed this. Don't be bummed. No bumming. But I understand. I do understand. So I'm not making light of how you feel. You and Katie. It's legit. And yes, don't be bummed. Yo, look, you got Catherine missed a lot of it too. So all three of y'all will be watching the replay. Feel free to post in the comments on the channel. I got you. Oh my God, I have a megaphone. Of course you do, Rhonda. Justin Yum. Oh, what did Justin say? I hope everyone has a wonderful day. The food is calling me. Oh yeah, go eat. I need to eat too. Hamila says the comedian Kev on stage is doing a grief comedy tour. Interesting way to handle it. Oh yeah, that is. Thank you. If you could find is he like going to be on YT, Hamila, like free, or is it something where you gotta pay? If there's a link, where I was going with that is if he's doing it on YT and it's something people could catch, you feel free to put the link in the chat comments. Fantastic fun, Rhonda. Daphne says there is a shift happening around grief, and this is part of the shift. Absolutely. Who is that? The grief comedy show. She said Kev. Do you know the comedian Kev? Is there more you can share, Jamila? Katie says, okay, Megan, Catherine, Nicole, now don't feel so alone. Good. Yeah. And even if it was just you, Katie, there's no judgment. We still love you. It's okay. We got you. You know the family got you, no matter what. Catherine says, Daphne, I feel that too and hope it continues to grow. Absolutely. And if we need to, we'll go back through the Wild Edge of Sorrow book. That was such a good session. I don't remember if I had this to be able to record it. I think it's live for now, but if he saves a recording, I'll share. Thank you, Hamila. Oh yeah, Daphne, this is her favorite. Was that you, Daphne, that said death? Or was that Jamie? I don't remember. It was one of you ladies. But Daphne says, my work for the last 3 years is on grief. Trish says, exactly. Don't feel alone. You're here now. That's all that matters. Absolutely. Absolutely. Incredible, Daphne. Good grief. Robin, I need you in person. You witty people. I love it. Sol says, what's the book name, please? Oh, this book or the one that I mentioned a moment ago. I'll put both of them in the chat. Also, I do have a in my link, this one, okay, it's called Letting Go. In my profile link, I have what we call Let Us Fam Docs, but it's called Let Us Relate. I'm looking at it because I'm trying to remember where it is. Okay, if you scroll down like the 6th or 7th one, Let Us Relate, I put books that people have suggested in there as well, but this book is, if someone didn't already type it for me, Letting Go the Pathway of Surrender by Dr. David R. Hawkins, MD, PhD. The All There Is podcast is also beautiful support. Awesome, Catherine. Please, if you can, send me the link. I'll put it on the Let Us Family Docs. Good now. You're live also here? Yes, I am. Who is French Lessons? Who am I speaking to over there on YT? Nicole, I'll share my info with you later. Awesome. You're welcome, Soul. I have on our Let Us Family Docs too, I put family like business. So if you have a website or anything, feel free to send it to me and I'll add it to the Let Us Fam Docs. Yeah. Any other, anything else you want to share? Remain calm and loving. Yes, I need to put those mugs up. Yes, Robin. Let us remain calm. Let us remain at peace. I have a merch store, y'all. So, and it's for, the proceeds go to anyone who wants to get trained in TM and do not have the money, or who wants a brain scan. That's an expensive procedure, but it's a SPECT scan, which I can go into at another time. But basically, it sees where the blood is not flowing as well in the brain, and it helps because it's like, especially people with ADD, there's 7 types of ADD, which I'll be doing a talk on those. Different forms of ADD have different ways to be treated, whereas most of the time people will get a stimulant. There's one particular form of ADD that does not respond well to stimulant, makes it worse. So who's the other funny grief person comedian? I only know of the one that Jamila shared. Well, I don't know of him, but I don't know if there's anyone else. Anyone else have a grief comedy person? Trish, what you thinking about? But yeah, so that's what the merch store. You'll see that on my profile link as well. So that one name, Kev is what Jamila said, but he's live. Ricky Gervasi has a show, very good. Oh, you're talking about maybe the podcast too? What you were saying about ADHD? Yeah. Yep. There's actually, ADHD is only the one that's most common, but there's the rest of them are ADD. There's no hyper in it. It's attention deficit, period. But yeah, I'm gonna do just 7 miniature talks, 7 mini talks, and I'll publish them here on the app. I just need to take some time to record them. Yeah. Yep, no hyper, especially the limbic ADD. Limbic ADD is an emotional one. Got to go now. Love you guys. Keep the lovely connection. Thank you, Soul. Thank you, Nicole, for this. You're so welcome. Thank you for being here and for showing up and sharing and loving on folks too. Looking forward to that. Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, I will get that out. Robin says probably Ricky Gervais. Is that how you say it? Show on Netflix. 7-minute talks for the 7 types. Yeah, I can do that. 7. Jamila. The Connection. The comedian Dion Cole also did a stand-up after his mom died, and I believe it's on YT. Thank you, Jamila. I mean Netflix. Got it. Thank you. I think we all have some part of it. We do. It used to be only diagnosed, and it's definitely inherited, but also not always anymore because of the way our society is right now. People are like literally developing it later in life, or maybe it's just being exacerbated later in life, and they've had it since childhood. A lot of times it was not diagnosed in childhood, especially if you're a woman, because it's usually not. It doesn't show up as you running all over creation and tearing things up. Usually women is more subtle, so it's harder to diagnose. But yeah, the brain scan actually helps. The type of brain scan helps show. And I actually, on my channel, I've saved a couple of Dr. Amon's scans. He's done celebrities, and you can see he shows their brain scan, and you can see the correlation between their life experience and what shows up on their scan. So yeah, it's really good. Gotta love the brain. That is your CEO of your life. What type of brain scan? SPECT. SPECT. One of my, where'd I put it? No. I just had it the other day because I need to frame it, but I have a poster of like the different brain scans. I'll pull it up. If y'all still want to hang around, because I know we kind of got away from the book because we started talking about brains. I mean, I love brains. See if I can share the screen. So this is all the stuff. Why is this okay. I know why. There we go. So and I also have a link if you ever want to do I know, right, Robin? If you ever want to take the assessment for ADD, there's an ADD type assessment. Oops. But this is it. It shows how the blood flow. Let me see if there's any images on here. But this is who I got my brain health certification through. And his book, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life, is good. I don't think it shows on here. But we do have some in DC. This is where he has all his imaging centers. Anyone who I can set up a referral if anyone ever wants to look into that. I'll just submit the referral on your behalf. You get 10% off for working through me. But yeah, that's because he's a psych doc. He's like, why is it that psychology is the only profession that doesn't actually look at the organ they treat? Like, cardiologist measures the heart and all that. So Catherine says, I'm so intrigued. Thank you. This was my experience, and grief was definitely part of me accepting the reality of the ADD that left me feeling less than and so alone. Yes, as a kid. That is another thing too. Especially undiagnosed ADD. It really works on a kid's self-esteem for sure. Jamila says, Kev on stage is doing the Grief Sucks tour. It seems to be on the West Coast for now. Got it. Thank you, Jamila. I love it, Katie. See, Katie? Right on time, babe. But yeah. Any other thoughts, comments, questions? I was like, did I do a live? I did a couple lives when we did some brain stuff, but I don't think that was, I think before I got this system to be able to record and stream. So I'll be doing more, and IT has actually introduced video. It's introducing video, and I'm in the early access, so I will be recording a couple of short videos to upload for when they're ready to launch. I haven't figured out exactly what I want to record just yet, but yeah, that's what's coming in the future. Good now, V says hello, Nicole and wonderful people. Any other last thoughts, comments, anything come up from last week's chapter? How's everyone feeling? Hope you're feeling loved, supported, informed, path. Excuse me. Water. I'm celebrating y'all. And I'll end this soon so y'all can catch the replay. I love those balloons. And the firecrackers. And the confetti. All of it. But the balloons are my favorite. I wish they made bubbles. That would be awesome. All right, loves. I still have to cough. I don't want to cough in your ear. For anyone who is new here, I do have a group here on IT. If you go to my profile, scroll to the bottom, you see Entire Mastery, World Care through Self-Care. If you ever have any questions or want to reach out, you can reach out there, or my inbox is also open. I know, Bubbles. Catherine says, feeling love. Thank you all. Sometimes there's a little string when the live ends. I know. Yeah. A sting, sorry. So for those who don't know me, you will write something and it'll be correct, but my brain will see something different. Hence what I just said. But yes, sometimes it is a little sting when the live ends. You're right. Thank you, Sis Joellen. You're so welcome. Thank you, A. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Your donation. Jamie, sparkles in gratitude. Yes, yes. Thank you, A. You're so welcome, love. We'll be here next weekend as well, starting chapter 6, which is fear. Woohoo! We'll be talking about fear and letting that go. Grace says, thank you, Nicole, and everyone for being so supportive and loving here. I'm literally good now. I love it. I'm glad. Bubbles! Going to blow some outside. Yo, I don't think I'll ever grow out of bubbles. If you ever doing the dishes or when you shower, if you just do like that with your hand, you'll have a bubble. You can blow a big old bubble. In case you were wondering. I do sometimes. When I'm doing dishes, big old bubble comes out. Yeah, man. Oh, do you? That is so awesome. I don't have any actual bubbles. I just play with the soap on the dish soap. Oh, thank you, Robin. I appreciate the donation. Okay, best things I've learned all week. Get ready. Go to the kitchen sink. If I would, but I don't want to make y'all dizzy, I'd bring my laptop with me and just show you. Maybe another live. Maybe Free Flow Friday we'll do it. But yes, thank you all for showing up for you. That's what the balloons and everything was for. Thank you for showing up for you and doing the work. I believe and I know just in my studies that this inner work is for you, but also for the world. So that's why I always say thank you for showing up for you, because in so doing, you are showing up for the world, and I could ask for nothing more. We are responsible for everyone, each other. We are part of the collective consciousness. So I was saving for the kids. April says, you know what? I have a bottle of bubbles and I'm going to go blow some outside with my dog now that you mentioned it. I love it. April, have fun. You and the pupper have so much fun. I love it. I love bubbles. I don't know. They just fascinate me. So, yes, Rhonda, the bubbles. And thank you for the hearts. I appreciate that. They're not just for me. I know they're for everyone. Let's see. Sometimes my computer's like, back up. Yep, see. Sending you all love as well. Here, if you need me, reach out. Do not hesitate. I just want to see you win. Keep winning. Keep winning. Internal mastery is key. Yeah, that's all I got. Without further ado, if you have nothing else, feel free. If you have nothing in the moment, feel free to reach out after that, though. Again, the replay will be on YT and FB, actually. And feel free to make any comments. I only get comments or notifications if you make a comment on YT, not FB. So if you need to keep the conversation going, you have any questions, you have any resistance or anything, YT or the group on IT are the best places to mention. So with all that said, thank you for the love. Loving yourself, loving me, loving each other. Love is the most powerful force. So let's keep loving. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ciao for now. And to these beautiful souls on any other platform, thank you for being here. I'll see you next time.